In modern history, there are a lot of questions plaguing modern philosophers, such as, who spawned the Eye of Cthulhu in Soft Stream? Will Sunny ever stop Chungus farming? Can the King 9172 get world record in Who Killed Peter Griffin revamped? Will Gerg ever stream again? And likewise, will PKBoing ever upload again? But all these questions pale in comparison to the question I'm going to attempt to answer today. Who let the dogs out? Indeed a taxing question, considering it's been on the minds of many for over 2 decades by now. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the song Who Let the Dogs Out, because if you've ever been to a middle school dance or birthday party, you've most certainly heard it. But have you ever really sat down and thought about who really let the dogs out? Probably not, but I think it's a question worth answering. I don't know what answers we'll find, if any at all, but nonetheless, let's investigate this enigma together. Before we can properly answer the question, we have to first understand the history and lore behind this song. Who Let the Dogs Out is Baha Men's hit classic released on July 26, 2000. But what if I told you they didn't even write the song? In fact, a whole 2 years prior, a dude from Trinidad named Anselm Douglas would release Doggy, which is in fact the same exact song verbatim. Now why is this important? Well, aside from dropping a few knowledge bombs on y'all, it provides us with our first roadblock. What is that roadblock? Anselm expresses that this song isn't even about dogs. He says it's a man-bashing song, a real power to the people pro-feminist song. However, to quote the Wikipedia, there are other credible claimants to authorship in Toronto, Miami, and sports cheers in general, which means Douglas may have actually had nothing to do with the fucking lyrics at all. And then there's the Baha Men. Just because the original author wrote the song to bash men doesn't mean they recorded it with that knowledge. Now that we've established some background information, let's see if we can answer the question. Who let the dogs out? Okay, now we can start answering the question. Or can we? See, when I first came up with this idea for a video, I thought it would be a simple question to answer. My first inclination was that maybe the song was written to express the exploits, trials, and tribulations of a hero or story, much like old folk songs of yore. However, when delving deeper into the lore, as previously mentioned, the original author of the song didn't intend for it to be about dogs, so clearly scouring through the lyrics isn't going to prove fruitful. So then I thought maybe there would be some clues in the music video as to who let the dogs out. And boy, let me tell you, this was no easy task. I have rewatched this music video a solid 40 times at this point. And that's just during the rough draft of this script. However, the video does provide us with some potential culprits. The video opens with a security guard sitting outside watching Jeopardy, where a man is asked who let the dogs out. This is clearly the Baha Men's way of taunting us the viewer, as we'll never get to know who let the dogs out. But the Baha Men didn't intend for a super sleuth Reddit detective like myself to be on the case. But before we can begin making any claims, we should discuss the key players first. The list isn't very long at all, but it includes the security guard, the animal control ladies, and the Baha Men themselves. To start off, the security guard is a clear suspect because of the fact that he's the only visible person around when the dogs are let out. Besides, not to mention, he's pretty shit at his job. If the one thing he's supposed to do is to ensure that the dogs don't leave, why didn't he have any safety nets in place? They just fucking ran and bolted when the doors opened. The only blaring issue with this theory is that the security guard is the one who makes the initial call to report the dogs being let out. For me, that's a clear indication that he is not to blame, so we can remove him as a suspect from our list. Next are the animal control ladies. Now, while these women aren't present during the initial dog escape, there are some pretty reasonable assumptions that we can make as to why they're suspects. See, considering the fact that they're animal control, they're probably getting paid to return these dogs. So it wouldn't be too much of a leap to assume releasing the dogs would be a smart business move. All they have to do afterwards is safely return the dogs. Not to mention they have direct communication with the security guard, as they're communicating with him over walkie-talkie. We can assume they also have access to the facilities from this fact, or at least know the inner workings. There's just one issue. We never see them get paid. So while their connections and business line up, we live in an innocent until proven guilty country. Well, I do at least, and on the PKBoing channel we abide by those rules. So, that just leaves us with the Baja Men. Now why on earth would the Baja Men want to release a bunch of dogs? To make a sick-ass music video, of course. Except, they didn't even really use the dogs. I mean, yeah, the dogs are in the music video, but all the times that the Baja Men appear, they're in front of things or at a sick beach party. So, it doesn't really add up. In fact, none of this does. I don't get it. Those are all the probable suspects, so it has to be one of them. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I've watched this music video so many times at this point. I can't think of anyone else it could be, and to be honest, I'm getting sick of this music video. Every time it ends, it's with this dumbass dog just winking at the camera. I'm actually really starting to hate this dog. Okay guys, I finally figured it out. I don't know how I could not have seen this sooner, but the person who let the dogs out wasn't even a person. It was this dog the whole fucking time. And there's proof and reasoning behind it too. See, this dog has a clear motive. He's chained up and wants to free his brethren from the man. On top of that, he also winks to the audience at the end of the music video, insinuating he's aware he got away with the crime scot-free. There's just one issue here. Well, two I guess. He was tied up during the whole music video, and not to mention, dogs don't have opposable thumbs. But it's gotta be him, right? It literally can't be anyone else. None of the other suspects make sense. So that's it, huh? No culprit? No solution? A mystery still at large with no sign of ever being solved? Maybe it's for the best. Some questions are better left unanswered, they say. Even still, I would have liked to end this video with a groundbreaking discovery in this mystery. But I just can't seem to figure out who could have possibly let the dogs out. All the leads are dead ends. It's a question that is virtually unsolvable, and try as I may, I just can't untie this Gordian knot. Unfortunately, I can't answer the very question I set out to answer. Who let the dogs out? Well, sadly, it looks like we may never have an answer to who really did let the dogs out. It's really sad considering the song has been out for 2 decades without a single coherent answer too. I'd be lying if I said this doesn't bum me out, especially since I wanted to finally lay this mystery to rest. But perhaps the question was never about who let the dogs out, but rather should we let them out? Could we let them out? And maybe we shouldn't. Perhaps the dogs are us as humans, and letting them out is representative of our feelings. And the question of who let the dogs out is one of who let their happiness slip away from them. Or maybe, just maybe, it's just a fucking song. Well, we may never know the answers, sadly. But until next time, I'm PKBoing, and I post cringe, so you don't have to. See ya.
Like you cut G.